Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. This is your host, Melanin. We're back with the second episode of Nobody's Guru podcast. I just dropped my conversation cards. That's why I look down like that. Today, we're just going to freeball it. We're still talking about showing up for yourself. First, we're just going to, talk about what's in my cup. And we're also going to get right into last time's journal prompt and kind of go through what my answers were. And then we'll just get going. So today what's in my cup actually is just water. It's water. It's actually spring water. I literally hate drinking water from water bottles because the BPA and everything like that. I'm really trying to be more conscious about the kind of water I drink. It's so hard though. Like I've watched like TikTok videos on, different, and y'all, I'm always on TikTok. But I've watched like so many videos on, water tests, pH tests, acidity tests, just like all the different things that makes water like good to drink. And like, there's really been nothing that passed the tests. Like all the water is bad. Like I want to say the best water that I've seen tested so far was like Eternal. But then they were like, because it comes in a plastic bottle, then it still messes with it. And I was like, yo, is there anything that like, so Eternal, if y'all hearing this, can y'all start packaging it in glass bottles? Like we'll pay whatever. We'll pay whatever. But no, it's just really hard. I had even bought like a sink filter at one point, and I was supposed to have my brother help me install it. I let him hold it so that he could like fix it on his end. Do y'all know that this man has held on to this thing for like 1.5 years and never even fixed it or gave it back to me? Every time I ask for it, he's like, yeah, it's somewhere around here. I gotta find it. Oh man, Trini men. Anyway, so basically, just to start from last week's writing prompt or last time's writing prompt, and it was to write down 3 ways that you showed up for yourself. So 3 ways I showed up for myself that specific day. I responded to what my body needed. At the time, my stomach was giving like some really strange vibes. So like, I was like, you know what? It seems like we might need to do like a cleanse. So I got some papaya and had some papaya seeds and just kind of drank that and ate really healthy all that week. Didn't really eat any more junk and just let my body like just, you know what I mean? And I felt a lot better because of it. I also rested when my body required that of me. Like sometimes it's hard for me to do that. I feel guilty about resting. Like I should be getting things done. It's really hard sometimes to sleep when like there are a ton of things on your list you need to get done, but your body's just kind of like, ma'am. So I literally sometimes have to meditate before I go to bed so that I just don't even have that guilt. I can release all the emotions that I don't need so I can sleep peacefully. That's definitely what I do sometimes. I'm not sure if I had to do it that day. I'm pretty sure I just rested. I'm pretty sure that I just rested. The next thing on the list was that I got things done on my list. so I guess that's probably why I slept good that day. I was able to get some things on the list done. I rested when I needed to, and I listened to what my body required of me. So those are the 3 ways I showed up for myself based on last time's journal writing prompt when I wrote it down. I don't remember the date I actually wrote down what it was I did for my writing prompt. But what I'm going to do is, because there was a part 2, which is the part 2 is to write down what you intend to, show up for, how you intend to show up for yourself tomorrow. So I put workout because it has been on my list to work out now for like 2 weeks and I have not. I was trying to think, did I do any pole fitness at all? No. I have practiced like yoga maybe twice in the last 2 weeks, but I'm trying to be like consistent. Hot girl summer is around the corner and I got gigs to perform at, and I just need to be conditioned. You know what I mean? Like I need to be able to sing. I'm trying to do like, the Beyonce thing where I'm like running and singing and like really practicing so that when I'm on stage, I'm not totally out of breath. I did that last time I had to perform. I did it for like 2 weeks back to back And let me tell you, a world of a difference that makes on stage. It makes a crazy difference. So now, like, I have at least like I have like 3 weeks to get my life together. And if I had started 2 weeks ago, like, I'd be way, ahead of the game. So I'm just trying to force myself to give myself more time now. You know what I mean? Like, last time I had 2 weeks because I found out about the gig within 2 weeks. This time it's like, you've known for a while now, like, get your life together. So I'm trying to be kind to myself, but also like, okay, but let's do this, It's kind of interesting, just kind of learning to be in the balance of all of that, just deciding like, I'm going to do this. And if I don't do it, it's okay, but we need to do it still. So make sure it gets done. Like, it's like, forgiveness is more than saying sorry. But no, have you guys seen that movie? Who knows the movie that's from? Wonder. Okay, so tomorrow's list is workout. I need to get at least 3 out of 5 things on my list done tomorrow. Now, I started this class with Spectacular like a few years ago, and one of the things he had us doing in our group chats with like other people that were in the class was create a power list. It's like 5 things you want to get done every day. And like, minimum bar, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's your 5, just your top 5. Those things by the end of the day, it has to, like, maybe you have 20 things you need to do, but these are the 5 that like absolutely are like, it's just, it must get done. You know what I mean? Like, there's no negotiations, there's no excuses. It just must get done. So, I have actually limited mine a little bit to 3 out of 5, because even when it's 5, things come up, things change, things happen, and you have to adjust sometimes. And I have learned that. And so now I create space for adjusting. So maybe I have 5 things to get done on the list, but you know what I'm saying? Like, but I have to get at least 3 things done no matter what. And then if those 3 things get done and I'm like, oh, okay, there's still room to get the other 2 things done, I'm more inclined to get those other 2 things done, rather than put 5 on the list and then be like, oh no, like I can't get 2 out of 5. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it's like, it's the small things and then building to the bigger things. And then, eventually I can probably get back to 5 things. But I think that used to give me like a lot of anxiety, trying to get 5 things done, no matter what. And maybe my 5 things were just too big. Maybe my 5 things should have been like shower, brush your teeth, use the bathroom. Like, those things, absolutely, they're going to get done by the end of the day. But, you know what I mean? Like, it's just harder for me personally. Someone else might be able to be like 5 things, that's nothing. But I have noticed, I don't know if like my brain is just, like I need better brain power food. I feel like I'm all over the place sometimes. And as an artist, like, spontaneity is like a huge part of like my creative process. And like, I just need the freedom to just create how I need to sometimes. And sometimes that means like giving myself the space. Like, I'll be like, all right, here's 3 hours of free time. Do what you need to do. Like, if you want to write a song, you want to learn a new song on the guitar, you want to freestyle for a bit, you want to get some content created or work on some content. Maybe you just want to watch a show. Maybe you want to watch something inspirational and journal. Maybe you want to do yoga. Like, whatever it is, I just want to give myself the space sometimes to be creative and not be all in my face like, you must write 3 songs today. You know what I mean? Like, that just gives you a lot of pressure and sometimes anxiety, and it's harder to get it done. And it's hard to get it done from a genuine place. Like, maybe I'm watching a show and, like, maybe that's what I decide to do with my 3 hours that day. And like 30 minutes into the show, someone says something that sparks a memory in me, and I feel all this emotion and I just want to write about it. And then it turns into a song. And then I'm like, oh my God, let me pick up my guitar. And then boom, I have like the composition for it. Like, that happens to me. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been mid-air as a flight attendant and songs will just start flowing to my head. And I'm like mid-serving someone and they're like, hey, can I get extra? And I'm like, shh, no, this thought is coming in right now. You can't ask for anything. I need to hear what these things are. Like, sometimes like the creativity is just flowing to me and I need the space to just create. And honestly, that was a big part of why I made a big decision. And since we are done with the 3, oh, sorry, we're not done with the 3 songs. 3 things on the list. I'm going to get to the 3rd thing on the list and I'm going to circle back to what I was just talking about. So the 3rd thing on the list is to learn a new song on the guitar. I realized this week, like, I know quite a bit of songs on the guitar. I've never really cataloged what I know, which like doesn't help, because when I need to do covers, or you know, someone asks me to perform somewhere and it's like, oh shoot, what do I know? Like, I've never cataloged what I actually know. Like, who's actually, like, is there anyone that catalogs the songs they know how to play on guitar or keys or anything, or they just kind of know it? If you play an instrument at all, right, I want you to literally like sit down and catalog every song that you know. Like, try and go through it, because that's going to be really helpful for when you're booking gigs. I promise you. And even like if you just catalog what like the bass notes are, like I like to put like C, D, G, E, like the songs in the key of C, and these are the chords. You know what I mean? Like, just so I know, like, okay, when I reference it again, right, yes, I do know this. Because I've realized, like, I've sang with a lot of musicians that, you know, you're like, hey, you know how to play this? And they're like, I think so. I don't remember. Like, if you make a note in your phone and just catalog the notes, I promise you it'll be like so helpful. Because once I got that done, once I cataloged the songs I knew, I was like, we know quite a bit of songs. Like, maybe we should practice on perfecting these too, and then add more to the catalog, or add some to the catalog, but also continue practice, like maybe set aside time to practice. But anyway, I thought that was like a really good idea. So I started doing that. And so tomorrow I want to learn one new song on the guitar, which is not hard to do. Like, usually it's just like picking a song with chords I already know and then doing it. But I want to try and do a song with at least one chord I don't know, so that way it's actually a challenge for me. Yeah. Okay, so getting back to what I was about to say is, as a flight attendant, you know, having all those thoughts streaming through, even like the last job I was doing, working for a nonprofit. Wow, I cannot talk today, y'all. Working for a nonprofit. It was great. It was a great position. It just didn't allow me my creative freedom. And I'm in a place in my life where I think I have the most peace I have ever had in life. Like, there have been times where I've found peace where I was, like, when I lived in, I feel like it's always when I live abroad. When I lived in Spain, my sophomore year of college, that was a very peaceful time for me. Like, waking up and seeing the view of the mountains every day from your balcony is just gorgeous. You know what I mean? Like, just beautiful. And there was like orange orchards down there. It was just beautiful. It was beautiful. And it was very peaceful. Like, I don't remember ever hearing like the sound of an ambulance or a cop car. Literally, I like think back on that experience all the time. I'm like, not once when I was living in that town did I ever hear a cop car for anything. It was very peaceful. Not to say that there was no crime going on. I wouldn't know, but I felt at peace. So you know, things are different in every country. Like, maybe people just really get away with crime there. Maybe not. All I know is that I thought that was a peaceful, I thought for me it was a sign of peace, because in America, you know, cops don't really mean peace for the melanated community. So for me, that was a big deal, which is why I remember never hearing it. Not that I was looking for it, but I just never heard it once. I lived in Honduras for 6 months, taught abroad over there in Gracias Limpiera at a bilingual school. And during my time living there, it was peaceful as well. It was very peaceful. But I feel like both of these times, actually no, when I lived in Spain, it was part of a school thing, right? So I wasn't necessarily at peace because I was leaving like a boyfriend I had at the time back home, and I was away from my family for a very long time. Nice that I got to go home for Christmas, because not everybody did. And that was a big deal to me. And then I got to bring them Christmas presents from Spain, so that was nice. And that was really cool. But inevitably, like, looking back on things, it wasn't that peaceful for me, because, you know, I was learning a new language, and that was very stressful. Plus, I was away from everybody I knew and I loved. And it was like, the thing about it is, when you're in an immersion program, and point of it being an immersion program is so that you can really learn the language. You are forced to speak Spanish pretty much wherever you are. Like the only time I didn't have to speak it was with my roommate or like other American students that were there. But, you know, I joined the choir when I was there. I had a job. I had 2 jobs actually. One of them was like a voluntary job, and the other one it was a little pay, but it was cool, you know, having a job in a different country. That was cool. Like a little work study kind of thing. Even with those things, like those people did not speak English all the time. You know what I mean? Like the students didn't speak English. The other job I had, he didn't speak hardly any English. He wanted to learn, but I also wanted to learn Spanish. Whew, language barriers were crazy, y'all. Crazy. I want to say like the first 2 months of that job, we rode in the car and just listened to music. Like we would try to talk like the first 5 minutes. It was like a 30-minute drive. And when we realized like we just weren't going to understand what the other person was saying, like it was just going to be hard. But he was really cool. And after time, like I began to grow and develop in the language, and it became less stressful. But starting out in a different country when you can't even express like your, you know what I mean? Like your basic needs, it kind of makes you like understand babies, right? Like children that are learning to express themselves. Like when you're learning a different language, that's basically how you're starting out. It's like you just become like you're a baby in that language again. And it's like you want to pout, you want to whine, you want to fuss, because it's like, oh, I want you to understand me. Why can't you understand me? And then you figure it out. But what I'm saying is that wasn't the most peaceful experience because of that. Not that the area itself and living abroad, like it was great. But because of all those, you know, difficulties and obstacles, it just wasn't as peaceful as it could have been. At this point in my life, though, I am living on my own, and man, let me tell you how nice that is. Like, this isn't the first time I've lived on my own. Like, I have a roommate, and I've had a roommate anytime I've lived on my own, except for in Honduras, which once again was a very peaceful time as well. I think the difference was with that also is I was once again away from my family, whole different country, but it was like a whole different environment because it was like my first time not being around completely Seventh-day Adventist people like for that long, which was a whole different experience that maybe I'll get into in a different episode. But if you're not familiar, I was actually raised Seventh-day Adventist Christian. What that essentially means is that you worship Christ and you know, believe that he'll return again, and that's what the Advent part of Adventist is. It's the Advent message. And then you also believe in the Sabbath. That's why seventh day, you know, just like how the Jews kind of believe in the Sabbath. It's like that. I don't believe it's as strict. I know a lot of Jews that like don't even like turn on a light. But yeah, pretty much the Sabbath, you know, you want to keep it holy. That's pretty much what the basis of it is. Over the years, I have seen the definition of what keeping the Sabbath look like. A little shift in the Adventist community, but it's I think honestly it just got to a point of like understanding like this is not going to define your relationship with God, and this isn't going to define you making it to the kingdom or experiencing the kingdom, rather. I'll say that. But yeah, I think for me, because that was the first time I was away from family and friends that all practice the same thing as me, it was a little stressful in the sense that I was trying to figure my way out. Like my first time having to do things, like it was like my first time having to discipline myself at all, because around me I had always kind of been nurtured in this exact same realm of people and the environment. You know, I went to an SDA college, like, and that's Seventh-day Adventist. And they would require you to get worships, require you to go to chapel. I think like your freshman, sophomore year, depending on what dorm you're staying in. You know, you're supposed to make sure you get a certain amount of worship in and stuff like that. So it was like, it was already disciplined for me. It wasn't like a choice anymore, right? I also went to Seventh-day Adventist middle school, high school, whatever. So it was like a thing where I was just kind of learning to, I don't know, I was learning to practice what I believe. Like it was like a test. Because I've never had to not practice what I believe. Like I was always with people who believe the same thing as me. So even if we were just all kind of not practicing, it was like we were all practicing together, but we all knew better. I don't understand the logic of that, but like those who know, like those that get it, get it. And so this is my first time like just kind of examining certain things. And I think for me that's what made the experience challenging, but it wasn't that it wasn't peaceful. I think for me now, also I was just kind of figuring out a lot about my belief system as well as at the exact same time. Like I came home and from school in 2015, and I started studying the Bible like crazily and just learning like a lot. Because I'm like, most of the time, like you go to church and you're pretty much told how to think. I don't want to speak to every church, but like, you know, you're getting the pastor's interpretation of the word, which is great. Because usually they have some amazing points, amazing interpretations, amazing punchlines, you know, things that really drive home a message for you. And that's always been an amazing experience. However, it kind of takes away from just reading it with your own discernment, with your own intuition, with your own relationship, and understanding exactly what it is God intends for you to get out of it. Not that it takes away from. I believe that you should be studying in a way where you can listen to what people say and not judge it, not take it as good or bad, you know, and just kind of like put it in this like, okay, I'm just going to like listen to that, observe it, write it down, take note of it. But I'm also going to go back and I'm going to study it as well. And I'm going to prove that through and through. And we're going to look at the exegetical, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's look at the original meaning in the Greek. If it's the New Testament, let's look at the original meaning in the Hebrew. Let's look at the geographical context, the historical context for why they could have said what they said. What were the rules at that time? You know, like what did they believe in and why was it significant that they used this language? Like, I like to study like that. And I was actually told a couple years ago, like, that's not normal. Like, I should probably be a pastor if I'm studying like that, which is funny. Because, I mean, I do have a gift when it comes to like speaking and stuff like that, which is why I'm here. But I don't believe that that was my calling. There was one point where I thought it was. I think everybody kind of goes through that if you're raised in the church, where you're like, am I supposed to be a pastor? But no, it became very clear to me, like, you're going to use your gift, but it's not going to be in that way. And that's going to be fine. Like, now at the time, like I said, in Honduras, it was a different experience kind of being around people. At the same time, like I was studying and realizing like, oh snap, like the word Trinity and Godhead aren't in the Bible at all. And that's what we've always known it and believed it to be. What does that mean? And I was actually studying it with my godbrothers before I left. And I call them my godbrothers because like, I feel like they were God sent. It's the Muncow brothers. Shout out to y'all. Actually, one of them is going to be a guest on the next episode, and we'll be talking about nutrition. Earl Muncow, he has his No Junk, No Joke. You know what I mean? It's actually called Nature's Hype. It's a granola brand, but it's not just a granola brand. It's an entire nutrition brand. Like, there's just everything nutrition. It's really dope. They give you some great facts. They help get you some meal plans, some workout, all of that. So if you're really interested in health, we're going to talk more about it next time. But yeah, so it was actually in studying with them when I was like really starting to study it for myself again. Like I started reading books that like, I was like, why was this left out? Like doing research, like, oh, like this book in the Bible was removed. Who removed it and why? Like I went back and thoroughly did the research, like, because I'm that person. I'm sorry, I'm just that person. I said this last time. I want to know everything and why. Like, why was this removed? Who removed it? What did he believe in? Who were his mentors? Like, that's the type of studying I do. I remember starting a Bible documentary, and I don't even know if I finished it. I just had so many tabs open from the research I was doing. And when I say research, I don't mean just Wikipedia, because Wikipedia can be accurate, but we can't just use Wikipedia, guys. You have to literally look at the sources that the Wikipedia comes from. And if you can't look at those sources and find anything, then you have to dismiss it as fact. That's what they tell me anyway. But I literally will look at Wikipedia, go to the source, then start studying and keep going back to those sources, that source, you know what I mean? Like reading articles. I even still have access to like online journals from like, you know, colleges and stuff that give you access to online journals. Don't ask no questions. I got connections. Like, nah. But no, I also have like a huge library of like literature, like online literature. So anyway, the point is that like I do a lot of research, y'all, like a lot. And I think I said that last time, but I don't know if y'all really get it. Like there's times where I'll close my door for like a month and you don't even see or hear from me because I have swallowed myself in research. But yeah, basically at the time I was really just trying to understand it. I was really just trying to know more about God and why I felt like not lied to, but like, where did this understanding or this belief come from if it's not biblical? Even the books that were removed don't have this information in here. Where is this coming from? And I just wanted to know. And like some of the practices, you know, divine hour comes from a pagan ritual. Christmas comes, you know what I mean? Like they combine pagan rituals, like the tree, you know what I mean? Like the tree represents the spirit of Tammuz. Like if you do any history research at all, and I'm not going to go too deep, you kind of realize that a lot of these things are not what you think they are. So it's like, how can we take some of it and we don't take all of it? Or how can we choose what we're going to take? Or how can we create something we're going to take that's not even biblical? Like I just wanted to know. And so I was going through that phase when I was in Honduras. And that's why it wasn't as peaceful for me. But since I moved home and I've actually had a lot of challenging years, I can say that the growth that I've had from those challenging years has brought me so much peace. Really seeking God and finding God has brought me so much peace. And like I said, this is one of the most peaceful periods of my life that I have ever experienced. And I wish everybody find this kind of peace where it's like you could have chaos outside of you and you're just kind of internally like in tune, like just like, oops. Just kind of like, just zen. And not to say that I don't still experience anxiety. I think that's natural. I think that's human, especially if you've experienced traumas and you're trying to work through triggers and like things like that. But I will say, like, on a day-to-day general average consensus, peace, just pure peace. And because of that, I decided it was time. To finally do the one thing I've been wanting to do my whole life since I was a child. Follow my childhood dreams, honor my inner child. And I have been doing that, but not full time. I've been doing it as a part-time on the side, not full dedication. There's never been enough time to, there's never been enough money to. And God recently just kind of was like, hey, look, it's time. Like, it's time. I can't even, if I were to talk to you guys right now about, I saw 123 when I said it, it's time, if you know anything about numerology. But no, if I were to talk to you guys about the way God brought the message, came through with the message, I can't get into that right now. I can't even get into all of that right now. I have to wait a few episodes in because you guys have to understand that the journey to where I'm at right now, it wasn't easy, but it's already worth it. It's already worth it. It's already so worth it. Wow. Okay, so basically, I'm going to take a break here because we want to get into part 2. Like I said, today was a free ball, so I was just kind of talking about my journey here. We're still talking about showing up for yourself. So we're going to get to how I showed up for myself, how I'm in a place where I am just pursuing my passion full time now. So stay tuned.